What's going on, y'all? And welcome to another episode of Resilient Kings Podcast.
Whoa. Now you about to start some controversy here.
I am your host, Yaron Brown.
Hold on a minute. This is a Resilient King alert. Resilient King alert. You ain't gonna roll past that.
This is Resilient Kings Podcast coming to you.
Let's go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Resilient Kings Podcast. I'm your host, Yaron Brown, and I am bringing to you a unique and special guest today. I am bringing to you Mr. William Maloney, a.k.a. Mr. CTAE. He has 37 years of experience in architecture and construction, business management, administration, concrete and construction, entrepreneurship. I'm not sure what he hasn't done. And he's a school counselor as well. This is a privilege to have you here, brother William Maloney. I know one person that goes by Bill. Do Black people do Bill or they do Will?
It was one guy. I know his name was William. He went by Bill. I go by anything starts with a W.
Anything that starts with a W. The only one I know is Bill Cosby. That name is
Bill,
William. He starts with Bill.
Willie, all those, but not the B.
So fantastic. So one, how did you? Well, let's just start out with what the heck is CTAE?
All right. So basically, it's what most people is career, technical, agriculture education.
Okay.
Most people now they like to leave the A out. It's called CTE, but agriculture is getting really big, and we have a lot of programs, so we had to put it back in.
Okay. So now, how did you get into doing this? Right. I know that we're talking about trades specifically for these young men and all that kind of stuff. Are trades popular now? Because when I was growing up, they were, but now they don't seem as popular now. So what makes this even important?
Well, let me tell you right now, Yaron. First of all, they always been popular, but the problem is we don't talk about them in school anymore. What happened was the biggest mistake that ever happened was when we got rid of the take care diploma. So now we only push 4-year colleges. Everybody's not going to college, and so trades is always viable. And it's always needed. And I can show you how you can make a lot more money doing trades than you can going to college. And
Whoa. Now you about to start some controversy here.
Yes, sir.
You about to start some controversy here. Hold on a minute. Because I was about to say you can't make any money in trades. Hold on a minute. You saying you can make money in trades without going to a 4-year institution?
Look here. Most trades are 2 years max. Some of them that are less than that. I even got a professor, and I can show you what you can do. You don't need no kind of degree, and they make $130,000 per day. But that's not trades. That's just a regular job. So
whoa. Hold on a minute. We pushing 4-year degrees. Not to say that 4-year degree is not important, but we pushing them in institutions. Yes. We are pushing them.
Yes.
And we are getting student loans at the wazoo.
Yes, sir. And
we can't pay them off because sometimes we don't have the money to pay them off because we're not making enough money at our jobs. You telling me there's an opportunity for kids to go to school for 2 years and make enough money to sustain their lifestyle and even grow their lifestyle?
I'm gonna add yes, but I'm gonna add another caveat to that. Right now in Gwinnett County, we have Grayson Tech and Maxwell Technology School.
Okay.
Kids graduate from there and they go straight to. I had a girl who graduated from Maxwell starting off at $25 an hour. She's a welder, and she got an apprenticeship. They're gonna pay her to go back to school. And she has no other degrees.
What they gonna pay her to go back to school and do?
Well, what it is get more training on it. So the contractors and employers are paying all of that. Had another kid last year he took welding. I'm sorry, year before last he took welding. Last year he took HVAC. So he's set, but he got a job at commercial plumbing contractor.
Uh-huh.
They're gonna pay him $140,000 for apprenticeship, which is 4 years. But after that, he starts out at $125, no debt. $125 per year starting off, no debt.
No debt?
So show me what you can do in 4 years and make that kind of money with no student loan debt. I'll wait. Okay, I waited long enough.
You see me over here. I'm quiet. because I can't believe it.
But here's what it was. Colleges are necessary for some people. But the problem is we got to realize they're not for everyone. And so just in the construction field, they're probably about in the next 3 years, they're going to be something like 10, 20 million people short because all electricians are retiring, all the plumbers are retiring, not alone the other stuff, and they have nobody going back in because we push in college. But I couldn't believe you ever saw that documentary called Borrowed Future?
No, I ain't never seen that before. I need to see
It's
it.
about what's the guy who was the money guy? What is his name? It's not Kiyosaki, it's the other guy. I can't think of it right now, but he created, but it's on, but look it up, it's called Borrowed Future.
Okay.
They was like teaching degrees, they got like $120,000 worth of debt for a teaching degree.
Yeah.
And that's just a bachelor's. Where you gonna make that kind of money?
That's true.
You're not.
That's true.
But it is scary. They say right now, most children right now, colleges don't even figure 4 years no more. They figure 6 to 8 years graduation rates. So when they quote you with graduation rate, that's in 6 to 8 years. That's not 4 years anymore.
So hold on a minute. So let me understand this, right? So how did you get into this field? So how did you? So you are, and I'm not trying to say this to mean some kind of way, but you part of the system, right? You part of the system. You have worked in high school as a school counselor, and that's all they've been pushing is college, right? Like you said, they took the technical diploma out and threw it away. So you part of the system. Why you bucking the system? You different. Well, what happened that had you? Please tell me what changed.
Well, let me start from day one. I started in construction. My father was an entrepreneur.
Okay.
So we used to do septic systems. We end up in concrete by default because he was doing septic systems. So he would pour his own septic tanks out of concrete. So he bought from one concrete plant and they was going out of business. So the other one said, we don't want your business. So he ended up buying the concrete plant just to supply to get his needs met. And we end up getting in concrete.
Hold on a minute.
All
Time out. Hold on a minute. You ain't gonna roll past that. They told your dad that we don't want your business.
When this other business go out, when this company you buying concrete from go out of business, we ain't gonna do no business with you at all. And it wasn't, and back then, nobody came in the area. So whatever county you was in, no outside concrete company would ever come in that county. So which means he'd have been out of business.
So he said, hold on a minute. This is a resilient king alert. Resilient king alert. Resilient king alert. Your dad said, because they are not going to give me what I need, I'm gonna find a way to get it.
Yes, sir.
Come on now.
He was the first black man to own a concrete company in South Carolina.
Come on. These are little known facts, Will, that you are telling people today that they are unaware of. So what part of South Carolina are you from, since you said you from South Carolina?
So you might get a little bit of twang of the accent. I'm from South Carolina, a place called Walterboro near Beaufort, Charleston. So you can hear the Geechee Gullah a little bit going on there.
Okay.
So yeah, and so like I said, we always had to survive. And my dad, I love it because he never made excuses. When something happened, he made a turn, he shifted, and he kept going. And so I got it from him.
Okay. So now let's jump back into it. All right. So he decided I'm a purchase this concrete company. Black man.
So I can survive. Just so I can survive.
Just so I can continue to feed my family. I'm gonna find a way.
Yes.
Okay. So he goes and he creates this concrete company, right? So then what happens?
So like I said, we were just doing it for the purpose of pouring the concrete for our septic tanks. And so after a while, he got into delivering concrete, and then we got into finishing concrete because, and it's crazy. People always say people stick together. They don't. Because when he was trying to get into it, he went to a lot of the well-to-off black people in our community and say, hey.
Oh, here you go. About to start some stuff. You about to start some stuff.
So let's get together. Let's buy this plant. I just want it so I can go ahead and do the concrete. I mean, do my business side. We can sell ours. Nope. We don't want no part of it. No part. So he gets it, struggling, doing the things. I mean, people don't understand. My dad was a businessman, but the repo man was always at our house trying to get my dad equipment because he was trying to pay for it. So he would negotiate with him. You give me a couple of days. I'll make this payment, back and forth. And the crazy part is the people who he went to didn't want nothing to do with him. Then they try to all get together and try to buy their own self a concrete plant.
After he bought one and wanted them to participate in buying one, they saw how lucrative it was. And then,
well, it wasn't the lucrative part. It was we don't want you to do it. We don't want to do it with you. We want to do it against you. And none of they didn't end up doing anything at all because once you figure out how much money in it, if you're not rich, you should never own a concrete plant because, like I said, the plants are probably about back then it's probably like 300,000 for a new one, and each truck is like 120, $150,000 a piece. That's not including all your materials and other equipment that you need, heavy equipment and all that. So you're probably looking at probably about $500,000 investment, easy.
Hold on, man. What year was this that your dad was investing $500,000 almost?
But it wasn't quite that much. He got a good deal on the plant because he knew the guy he was buying from, so he kind of gave it to him for cost because nobody wanted to buy it. So this was in 1982.
82. Your dad was buying a concrete plant in South Carolina.
Yeah, 1982.
And so he buys this plant, and initially he ain't making a huge amount of money. He just bought it to sustain the business and keep the family afloat.
Yep.
So y'all still just because you bought it don't mean the struggle ended.
Oh no, that's where the struggle really started. Because that's when it started. Because now we got this extra equipment. We got the maintenance. We got to pay for it. So okay, now we got to do something else to shift.
So now, how old were you when you first started working with your dad doing the concrete?
Well, I started working with my dad probably when I was about 4 or 5
years old.
Yeah, I used to drive heavy equipment, like his equipment when I was 5, and so like he had a septic tank truck, and I used to drive. They used to come and get me after school. Nobody don't call DSS on me, okay? DFACS on me, all right? Because I had to come and help the guy get the things ready the next day. But when I was 12 years old, I drove a concrete mixer by myself, 25 miles away, to deliver some concrete.
Oh, they're gonna call them people on. They're gonna call them people on you. They're gonna call them people.
Call now all you want. You call all you want, but that's how it was in the country. So, like I said, I've been driving big equipment since I was like 5, 6 years old.
Oh wow!
Started young in the country, so yeah. So it's funny because everybody thought, well, he's so little, but the ones who know me, like his dad had him driving almost since he was walking, because he put me on equipment and things. So I'm the only boy.
You started out early participating in this, and is that how you started finding the benefit in trades?
Yeah, well, most of the part, like I said, I had to do it, and then I go to love it. And so, I did trades, and so you end up, how did I get? Let me backtrack. Let's get back to how I got to the system. We'll fast forward, and we'll jump back.
Yeah.
So, I started doing this, and so doing concrete work, I love it. I'm great at it. I actually went to a 4-year college, Georgia Southern, for building, construction, and contracting.
Okay.
Right? So I could get my contractor's license. So, like I said, when I do jobs, I read blueprints. I know how to do hubs. I shoot elevations. I know all that. So a lot of the fellas back home the contractors love me to come in because they ain't got to do anything but show me the plans and show me my markings, and I got it. I swear, we did buildings that was like 80 feet by 350 feet long, and they perfectly square, and things like that. So I did that part of it. And my dad, like I said, my dad never went to college. But when I tell you, he was a tradesman. He took carpentry. So he used to build houses. Matter of fact, another caveat back then. So my dad used to build houses. He started before he started doing septic tanks full time. So he had 2 brothers, and he tried to get them. They was going to business together. It was called William, Robin, and Tony Construction. Right, 3 brothers. So they would clear the land. They would build the house. They would put in the septic system. Whole package deal. His brothers wouldn't stick with him. We'd have been millionaires, and I wouldn't be on the call with you right now because I'd be building houses right now.
So hold on a minute. So for those who don't know what a septic tank is, can you please explain what a septic tank is?
So when you use the bathroom, all your gray water, which they call it, which is the commode, the shower, everything that you dump out your house, go into a sewer system. And if you're in the country, is individual. Every house has one. Of course,
so hold on a minute. So for all those people who don't know anything about country living, a commode is a toilet.
Oh,
just so y'all don't know, a commode is a toilet. I'm not sure if y'all knew that or not. Yeah.
Thanks for the translation.
Yes. So all of that stuff goes into a specific location.
Yes. So they call it gray water. So every water that you use, you flush, your sinks, your toilet systems, all of that goes shower. And what it does is it holds the solids, and eventually the water goes out until they call a drain field, leach bed, and it kind of soaks up into the yard. So only the water goes into it. Okay. In the city, when you go to Atlanta, they have sewer systems. You see those big old, where they always have on the news, where they be dumping water before it's treated correctly into the Chattahoochee, and you see they always suing them. So that's basically what it was.
Okay. So now does every house have a septic tank?
everyone must have it, and it's DHEC certified, which means it's a health hazard if you don't. So
Okay.
every house in the country have their own individual, but these newer subdivisions closer to the metro and suburban, they have the local sewage system.
Okay, so this run by the city or the county or whatever
Yes.
the case may be.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so your dad's brothers and your dad was trying to corner the market,
Yes.
and the brothers didn't want to stick with it. Why?
My dad is the oldest, and so
Okay,
his middle brother always grudged him, and I didn't understand why until I got older, and I see why. I actually saw it for myself. And then the baby brother would follow whatever the middle brother said. And so the
okay.
baby brother, he's a hard worker, but the older brother, he's one of them, as my dad would say, he had a lot of opportunities to do things, but he chose not to.
So they just decided we gonna break up, or how did that work?
I'm not exactly sure how it all went in, but ended up, like I said, they kind of broke up what it was. Actually, my dad, he started the company, but he included them. He always
Gotcha.
tried to help people. So they didn't really do anything to get in. He just doing this, okay, I'm running this. Come on and join me. We all can do this together. And it didn't go that way because they want to do their various things. So
Okay. Now, are you the only son?
the only one.
Okay. You got any sisters?
Yes, I have 3 sisters, 2 older and 1 younger.
Gotcha. Okay. How did you seeing your dad do what he did? Did you know he was the only black-owned concrete company when you were young, or did you find that out when you got older?
We found out a little bit later on when we talked to other things, but that wasn't the main reason he did it. Like I said, but I found out because I was in middle school about that time when we kind of got it because I remember that. So yeah.
So now, how did your dad, being who he was, impact you?
Oh man, my dad was like Superman to me. He's no
Wow.
longer with me right now, but he's always all in me. And it's funny because my wife pick at me talking about you every bit of your dad, and I'll
Now,
be like, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I take it all. So
now we want your dad to constantly live forever. So make sure you say his name in this video or this podcast, because his podcast is gonna live forever. So his name needs to live forever too.
so he is William H. Maloney Sr. I am Junior.
Okay, there you go. Fantastic. Outstanding. I love it. I love it. So he is now, at least for the foreseeable future, at least digitally, he will live forever because this podcast will live forever.
Thank you, and I appreciate that, my brother.
Anytime, brother. Anytime. My pleasure. So now, how did he shape your identity of masculinity and manhood? Right? Because he sounded like he was a real hands-on type of guy.
Yes. One thing my dad I saw instilled in because it's funny because he never asked me to go outside and do things. I mean, well, like, could you come outside and help me? No. If he was outside, I was outside. So I tell people all the time, you can never hurt my feelings because I held the flashlight for my daddy. And the ones who know. Um, because they would curse you out if you don't hold it right or pop you upside the head. But I saw him, he never made excuses about anything. One thing he taught me was you never depend on anything or count on anybody to do anything for you because they don't have to. If they do, that's an added bonus. But what I was taught was you do it yourself. And so with that, a lot of things that I know as I got older, I realized I started leaning depend on different brothers, for different support and things that I needed. But at first it was like, nope, because I reckon in his life he tried to help and include people and they always didn't do what he wanted or what they should have done or what they said he was gonna do.
So it almost left him alone
Yeah.
more so than anything else, right?
Yep. He's the hardest worker. And like I say, he's the type of person that when he shared. And so of course the people were there for the giving, but when he needed them, including his family members, he had 7, 8 siblings. So I would watch them. He would do everything for them. And when he needed something, they always busy or had something else to do. So he was the oldest boy.
And I know some people that's listening to this that can relate to that.
Yes, many.
Right? That can relate to always doing for others and not, having anyone do for you. So you feel like you got to do it by yourself.
Yep.
And you feel like you don't have the support you need. Now, was your mom's what was her role in his business and him leaning on her? I'm not sure. Maybe she didn't. Maybe he didn't lean on her. But what was her role in this process for that development?
Gotcha. Mom was the right-hand man, if you would say so. I was jealous of her when I was little because he taught her how to drive all the equipment before I did. And she got to driving the trucks, driving the heavy equipment, the backhoes and stuff. And I'm like, Why can't I drive that? But I wasn't old enough yet.
So she had his back.
Yep, she was the secretary. She kept the books, whatever she need. I mean, my mom was one of the sweetest persons you want to meet because she built relationship. When she talked to people, she connected with people. And it's crazy because sometimes, like when things were tight in the business, you know, and like for the concrete plant, you have to buy something called bulk, which is the dry cement that you
Okay,
have to make the concrete. And
gotcha.
so, like, we didn't have the money. We owed them for a load already, and they ain't got the money for this. My mom would talk to them, and they was like, "Okay, because of you, we gonna send you another load."
So hold on a minute. So and I'm gonna bring some clarity to this. So what I heard you say, and I just want to make sure I'm clarifying this, that your dad was that guy who really didn't depend on a lot of people for much of anything.
Yes,
The only people that he depended on, it sounds like, was his wife
and family. Yep,
and
family.
and you guys as his children, right? To some
Yep.
degree. But then I heard something very different, right? Because we got a lot of men out here that may say something to this effect, right? I'm gonna do it all by myself completely because I'm a manly man, right? I don't need nobody else to help me out, right?
Mm,
I can do it all by myself,
yep,
right? But I heard you say
you
that
can't.
your dad actually allowed your mom, or your mom took it, not sure which one, but either way, she handled the business side of the business, and they actually had a division of labor
Yes,
in the family, which made it run effectively.
correct.
And he trusted her enough to handle that business.
100%. He went out there and did the hard work, the labor part, and she took care of the bill side of it, make sure everything was done.
Ain't that about nothing?
It was some conflict sometimes because my dad, like I said, you know, he want to spend here and there, and then, you know, like she's like, we don't have it yet.
There you
She
go.
paid the bills right now, so you got to
There
wait
you-
on that.
and I love that side of it because that sounds like it was teamwork.
Yes, it
Right.
was.
And I don't mean that teamwork is gonna go where it's all gonna be smooth. Sometimes it's gonna be some conflict in teamwork.
Oh, it was a lot of conflict, especially like I said, we all in now, so we knew the conflict. Yes, sir.
Yeah. But they worked it out.
Yes,
Right. They worked it out. And it wasn't him just saying, I'm gonna do everything, I'm gonna do everything. She was like, nah, we can do some of that stuff. We just gotta do it in a timely manner, in a way that's gonna work for the family.
the voice of reason.
There you there you go. Okay. Okay. So I'd like to ask all of my guests a few questions, right?
Okay.
So, what was a song or movie that woke you up to life, right? Or even manhood or masculinity, whichever one you want to do. But what was a song or movie that, like, you can think back on and be like, you know what? Yeah, that was really it.
Okay, you caught me off guard with that one. I was thinking about that, but really, I didn't look at a lot of TV or listen to a lot of music because of the fact is, you know, I was always outside. But let me
Okay.
see, it would have to be old schools. My dad listened to something called a wax museum. 98%, 99.5% of people on this call ain't gonna know what that is. So it was came on Sunday afternoon and played all old music, the Shy Lights, the Delphonics, you know. So I didn't know what rap music was or new music because all I knew was old school, the
Okay,
Supreme,
so what
Marvin Gaye.
old school song, like, that was like, oh man, this is
Oh,
it.
it's a man's world.
It's
A man
by
would do nothing without a woman.
who sung that?
That was
This James Brown, wasn't it?
no, what did James Brown? Yeah, I think it was James Brown.
I think it was James Brown. I'm
Mhm.
there. I'm there with you.
I
I'm
know
there
you
with
old
you.
school, and
So
so
it was that song. As you say it, I'm thinking about the lyrics, and it almost personified what your father and mother's relationship was.
Mhm.
That's crazy.
Yep.
That's crazy. Yeah, so I can see how that song was your wake up song to, okay, now I see how a relationship maybe is supposed to exist. Now, how did that affect your relationship? Because you are married.
Yes.
How, how
So,
did how did your parents' relationship affect your relationship?
so I had several girlfriends over the course of the years, but with me is it was like I was always intentional. You know, I would date somebody, you know, just to figure them out, take them out to eat, see them. So I was always entrepreneur. So I was very tight about my money. So you know what I'm saying? Because I had to work hard for my money. And so when I went to college, And the sister was a year and a half older than me, so she went to Howard. So all the money went to Howard. I had to get student loans, and I had to come home every weekend and work, pay my bills and work on campus. So I was always working. So okay, so it's crazy because my wife was my high school sweetheart, but I never told her that in high school. We ended up dating after I graduated
From college or from high school?
from high school.
Okay,
She was
okay.
a year behind me. So what it was, I used to like her, and so I would crack jokes.
Mhm.
And then my cousin told her that I liked her, so I would crack jokes to her, and that's all I would. I would never hit on her. So we kind of after that we dated a little bit to kind of fizzle, but then in college, we away from one another, stuff like that. But we ended up getting back together after I got out of college.
How did y'all meet again? How did y'all meet or see each other again?
This one of her friends was a guy I went to college with. I knew him, he was from my hometown, and he's like, you know what? He's like, yeah, he was like, well, Keisha, she's over here, this, that, someone, so I went by the house.
Uh-huh.
And so that's kind of how it was. Oh, I know what it was. That was the first time, my bad. The second time it was in church.
Y'all somehow ended up at the same church on the
Mhm.
same day?
Yep. So it was crazy because my mother knew a lot of people. They grew up together, so they knew a lot of them. So we went to visit the church, and she was there. And so and I saw her in church, and I think I called her a little bit later on, and we was going to my other cousin's house. They had a swimming pool or something, so a bunch of us was going. So we invited her over. And so we kind of ended up talking a little bit from there. And it's funny because my baby sister, she was always like the gatekeeper. And she's like, I like that one. You know what I'm saying? She would tell me in a minute, one girl I took out, and it's crazy. Soon as she got out the truck, because I always had pickups. I got a truck. My sister was in the back. She looked at me talking about, what were you thinking? I said, I know, leave me alone. I'm not, that's the end of this relationship. We're not dating any further than this. So yeah.
Outstanding. Outstanding. So we are just getting started. And I am so excited to have Will here. This is y'all don't understand how much information y'all are getting right now, how much is being done. So Will, you sound like you work a lot. You have kids. How many kids you got?
I have three. I have two daughters and a son.
Okay, 2 daughters and a son. You work, you are Mr. CTAE. I want to make sure I'm saying that right.
Yes,
What
sir.
do you do for self-care?
I am a tinkerer.
A
So okay,
tinkerer.
there you go. So basically, what it is, I have a welder, I have a torch, and I have a bunch of metal in my yard that my wife gets on me about. But I build things, I construct things. So I would say, I have several barbecue mobile kitchens. I built them all myself. Me and my kids, we take like old go-karts and four-wheelers, and we'll cut them up and Frankenstein them and put stuff together that shouldn't be together, and we make them work. So, and that's
Oh,
my
wow.
main thing, what I do. And so I love to barbecue, I love to fish, and of course, like country boys, I love to be in the woods riding ATVs.
Okay. So now, what do you like catching, and what's the best thing out there to catch?
All right, so I'm from South Carolina, so right now, saltwater, I know freshwater pond. I love freshwater fish, but I love saltwater better, hands down, tide water. Up here, people catch bass and they go about big bass. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? I like the sport of it. Like little brim or whatever. But what I love about where I'm from is nature, being out there in tune with nature. Because I can go fishing and don't catch nothing, and I'm fine because we're out there in the swamp. You see a bald eagle, and let me tell you right now, a bald eagle is bigger than anybody think that they really are. Because their nests are like 8 feet around when they build a nest. Their wingspan is 6 feet long on a full grown bald eagle.
6 feet long.
6 feet wide. That's their wingspan, and people don't
So
understand.
about the height of was it Steph Curry is about the distance and wingspan of a
Yes,
bald eagle.
yes, sir.
God.
And but like I say, so I am an outside person. So we see alligators, we see things. It's just being in touch with nature, and I love it. So I get homesick a lot by being up here. So every time I go home, it's a little harder for me to come back to Atlanta. Every time I go to South Carolina.
Okay. Now, do your kids enjoy all that stuff as
Um,
well?
It's crazy. So little background with it. My kids, like I said, they're suburban kids, you know what I'm saying, up here, but they're country suburban kids.
Okay.
So when I take them to the country, I think it was a couple years ago, I took them for we went to a little winter break in like February, and it's crazy. They loved it. So when I was talking to my cousin on the phone, I'm like, where are my kids? So we have land in South Carolina. Let me put that out. So, and I'm like, where are they? They're out in the woods. I'm like, no, come back. These are real snakes in South Carolina. It's not them little itty bitty snakes you see in Atlanta. These snakes are like big as your arm. And so it's funny because we went back for like, okay, we was like, me and my wife, okay, spring break, where we going to? Let's go to Florida every year. They said, no, we want to go back to the country and camp out.
Oh, wow. Hold on a minute. Your kids are from this generation and they want to go to the country to camp out?
We want to go to the country. They love the outdoors. They outside with me all the time. Fishing.
And they live in the
My wife-
suburbs currently. This is where they
Yep.
grew up, in the suburbs.
Suburbs, suburban kids, and they love the country.
Wow, that's crazy. You've done all these different things. What has been the biggest struggle in your life?
It's for me is the common theme between good and evil and nurture versus nature. If I had to say, my Bible character would be David Peter. And anybody who knows those two characters, that's who I am, 110%. And I struggle. I always want to do right, but sometimes what's in me, because I'm very protective of people. And so if somebody messes with my circle, my inner circle, I think it scares me sometimes what I would do to them or whatever the threat is to protect them at all costs. And so my wife, she kind of struggles with that, like just now with the terrible thing that happened over there down the road from Archer in Barrow County, which is the school shooting. And so she said, and she used to always tell me, she said, I'm worried because I know what you're going to do. You're going to protect them kids. And that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm supposed to do as a man.
How do you keep that, I guess, in check, or how do you manage that struggle?
So the bigger thing is, I have a very small inner circle.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know people for like 30, 40 years, but my circle is so tight, it's probably a handful of people.
Gotcha.
You know, and so one time, people like men don't cry, men don't do this. Men need to talk to other men because iron sharp as iron. So now I'm getting more into it because, like I said, I was brought up not to talk about it. You keep it to yourself, but I learned that I need that. So I'm part of a real tight men's group at the church, and it's crazy because when we get together and the pastor, it's different than with the women because it's real talks, and I love that. I'm part of a counseling group, and I love that because we get deep into things and make sure we self-care in one another. So, and I have a couple of guys that if I need them, they know no matter what they do, they drop everything because they know I need it. And I'm the same way with them.
Outstanding. Do you hear? I'm not sure if y'all heard that, but again, that is a Resilient King alert. I hope you all heard the fact that he said that he speaks to other men when he knows that he needs that support. So, Will, I know that this has been amazing, and I appreciate you. I appreciate what you have offered. I know this is not that we can't just do this, and we're gonna have to come back and do another one because we still got more that we need to talk to. We still haven't got to everything related to this CTAE stuff and what your connection to it is. And I still got more questions for you about all the different things. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna end it here, but I'm gonna have you back on for part 2 so we can pick back up on that. All right?
Can I say one thing before we go so we can just segue into part 2?
Yes.
All right. Most people don't understand this or don't know this, but I'm going to share with you. Anybody who's Christians or Bible, trades was sanctioned by God in the book of Exodus 35:10. He said, let every skilled craftsman among you come and make everything that the Lord has commanded. They built the temple. And I will go through all the different trades in there that he used.
I don't have anything to say after that. I'm going to end it right there. I appreciate you, Will, for logging in, connecting with me. We're going to have to do this again. We got a part 2 coming up. So we'll end it there.